Hello YouTube, welcome to EV Guy Canada. I am the EV Guy. This is my Tesla, and we are doing another test of my in-car FSD Beta Tracker. Just for anybody who's new to the channel, what I'm doing here is we have the full self-driving beta software on my car. I started building a little interface that runs in the browser here so I could track the progress of changes in the software over time. And so I thought for the videos it'd be nice to have an interface here so I could, whenever I have a disengagement, like I have to take over, if I intervene, like if I need to use the accelerator to push the car along because it's taking too long, keep track of those types of issues and log all of that, and then we can see over time how much better it gets. And also it gave me a nice visual interface that I could show the viewers like you guys how this is going on drive to drive. So that was the idea. So a little bit of a catch up. I realized that I'm not introducing this stuff in a lot of my videos. Well, I'm just diving right in. So what I'm doing, testing FSD Beta in the Tesla, this is trying to track how well it does drive to drive. And once I'm done developing this software, it'll start saving it so that I can continue to keep track of that. Ooh, can you guys see from over there? There's a red fox running across the parking lot. I'll see in the video if I can zoom in and catch it. That's cool. Don't see that very often here. Anyway, so I've been iterating on this, building this, keep adding features to it. Lots of scope creep that keep making this take longer to develop, but I'm pretty happy with it. Right now, the features that this thing has is the ability, I won't hit it yet, but hit start, it'll start clocking how long I'm driving. As I'm driving, I will be able to click whenever there's an issue, I will just click here and it will save it. It will save the date, time, GPS location, whether I was driving city or highway, as well as the approximate speed. So all of that will be saved for each click. And then it has a summary at the end that you can see. The recent additions that I have on here are the ability to switch between city and highway. So I have this new button here that it starts by default in city, and when you hit the highway, you just click it once, it'll switch over to highway. Once we start driving, this is what I'm testing today. Well, I'm testing that as well as how accurate the city and highway distant calculation is in the way that I am doing this. So while you're in the city, it should be clicking up. Then when you're in a highway, it should click there and keep it divided. And then this is approximate speed. I don't have access to all the actual data in the car. So what I'm doing everything off of GPS locations. So this version is set so that it will check the GPS position every 5 seconds, and it does a calculation to figure out the distance that we've traveled in 5 seconds, and it keeps adding that to the distance. And then with some simple math, I can figure out approximately, whatever distance you've traveled in 5 seconds, I can figure out your approximate speed. So this should update approximately every 5 seconds. So that's what this is doing. Hopefully we're testing it out. So there may be bugs, we're not sure. This is my first trial of all of this together, so we're going to try it live, well, not live, but recorded, and hopefully I'll get this all together and posted online for you to check out. So what I will do now is, before we start, I go to my trips. My duration says 5 minutes, so that's not right. So reset my current trip, and then I will hit start. So now we're ready to go. All these buttons are now white, so I can click them. And I am in the city, so I will put it in drive and see how we do. A little close to the curb there, but we made it through. Parking lots still make me anxious with this. I'm going to give us some air conditioning. Sorry, that was way too loud. Sorry, guys. All All right, so we'll see how we do here. There's some challenging stuff coming up ahead here. I don't like how close to the middle of the road the car drives, but when there's no lines, but it's okay. Nothing worth marking. This corner up here is a challenge. Sometimes it stops when it should just continue through. And that's because that road coming out of the parking lot here has a stop sign. We do not. This time it did very well, so that's fine. And hopefully we get an easy situation here, because this makes me anxious when we're dealing with merging with traffic from this scenario. But so far so good, and we got lucky on the traffic light there. Let's see how this does. Wow, too close to the curb for me. It may have been fine, but I'm calling that a disengagement. That was, at that speed, I wasn't going to keep waiting. So there we go, first issue tracked. Not bad. That yellow light was close. I probably would have stopped for it rather than running through it that way. But it did not turn red as we were going through, so really nothing wrong with it. Like I said, just something I probably would have done differently, but not going to log anything because it wasn't really wrong. So one of the major question marks I have on that I still have to answer before I'm ready to start launching this for other people and saving the data surrounds subcategories. So as it stands right now, I have 7 different buttons we can click while we're driving. So I have the good job, which is something I added kind of for fun, but also I think is going to be interesting whenever the car does something that really impresses you, stands out. I didn't think it could do that, or it was something that you struggled with for it has often struggled with, but for this time nailed it. That would be a thumbs up. So often when I'm creating the videos, I would do that myself. I'd give a thumbs up. So I decided to put that in. And then there's 3 other main categories. So there's disengagements when I take over, like I did back there. That would be one thing. Intervention is where I don't completely take over, but I intervene generally by stepping on the accelerator to push the car along. It's a matter of opinion a little bit for people of whether or not you should include when you adjust the speed on the using the wheel on the steering wheel. Excuse me. I have not been doing that. That's kind of up for debate because often that is a personal preference. It may be related to map data issues, and I haven't decided whether or not we should really be tracking map data issues or not. So disengagements, interventions, and then other is everything else, like where there's something that I don't like that I may decide to report back to Tesla, but I didn't have to actually take over. I didn't do anything. I just didn't like the way it behaved for one reason or another. That would fall into other. And then I split those into 2 categories, right? Safety issues. So was I avoiding, damage to the car, an accident, something, damage to somebody else? That would be safety issues. So back there, I was afraid that we could have hit that curb. So that was a safety issue. That's why I did that. The other are courtesy and comfort issues. So it's just something where I'm doing it because I'm not comfortable, and or I'm doing it because I'm concerned about the people around me, that I don't want them to be upset by the way the car is behaving. So that's the way we would delineate. And that's all I've got so far. In combination with all the other data, that's actually quite a bit. But a lot of other YouTubers out there, or a select few for sure, are keeping track of issues, and they're being much more specific and granular on what they're tracking and have expressed interest in that. And I have interest in it too, but my concern is the balance between making this easy and simple and not too much of a distraction, and getting lots and lots of data. So the one option I'm toying with is to move this down. So instead of having 6 buttons to handle those 3 issues, it would be just 3. So disengagement, intervention, other. And when you click it, a modal, like a box, would pop up, and you would select safety or courtesy. And then, sorry, the guy's a little close to me, just watching real carefully here. And then you would select something from the subcategory. And so you would have, instead of 1 click, you would have 3 clicks for each issue, but you'd have a lot more information. So it's one of those things where it's a trade-off. I'm wrapping my head around it. I'm going to consult with some people that have been reaching out to me. I know Elias, I keep saying I'm going to reach out to you, and I haven't. I will soon. And maybe we can have a discussion. And there's a few others. Obviously Cyberlift, and from Victoria, Gray Tesla. I'll look it up and put it up. I apologize, I don't remember the name of your channel offhand. But yeah, so there's a few people that I'll be discussing and trying to make a decision on this with, and they'll be the first ones to get the test version of this as well. An example there, turn signal went on when it shouldn't have, and I probably could have logged that. Maybe I should have logged that. I didn't. So a lot of this is very subjective. But, and I forgot. Damn, I've kind of messed up the test. I forgot to log when we got on the highway. So some of this distance isn't right. It'll still be fine for figuring out whether or not this is working. So I'm now logging my distance on the highway, and showing my approximate speed of 106. I'm going 105. That's pretty interesting. It's coming in close enough. And then, so this number for this test, because I'm not saving this information, isn't really important that I remembered to hit it when I first got on the highway. It's just to see if the total adds up properly to the trip odometer at the end. So I apologize that I was talking about everything else and I forgot to switch over to highway. There is one thing I thought about adding, is that when we go hit highway speeds, so once this approximate speed goes over 100 kilometers an hour, 62 miles an hour, that it would prompt you, do you want to switch to highway? I think that's probably a pretty good idea because I missed it here. Now we're back on the FSD stack. I'd say that was very good because we're in the correct lane. I've done this in the past where it's ended up in the right-hand lane, which is not the one we'd really want to be in. Although they both turn left, it would then mean you have to make adjustments after. All right, we're going to say good enough there. This is perfect along here. The car struggles in this area making this merge when I'm in that lane. Here it didn't have to deal with it, so no need to log it. It did just fine. that was one. I am going to log that. I don't think that was good. I think it should have stopped at that yellow. Technically, it wasn't illegal. You know, we went through and into the intersection. Well, it was still yellow. It turned red as we went through. It had time. You know, if the law states that stop when it's safe to do so, it was safe. It was safe to do so, and I do think that Beta should have stopped there. It's not a massive issue, but it's an issue. All right, I'm not going to complain about that. I think that was one of the electric Jaguars right there. The F-Type. Not F-Type. What is it? Jaguar E-Type. Nope. All right, I'll put it up in the video what it is. I am pretty certain that's what it was. But Beta got concerned that they were going to dart out in front of us and reacted. It wasn't comfortable as a passenger, but it also... Oh, we're here. We're at the destination. So it wasn't comfortable as a passenger, but it also was safe and not really a problem. So I can't fault Beta for making a move that was based out of safety. Some might, I didn't. All right, so our distance, 8.88 kilometers in the city, 4.78 kilometers in the highway. I am going to pull in here. And we'll see. So, and my approximate speed now is 0, which is fair because, 5 it was 0 because I guess we came to a stop and then we started driving and now it's back. Now we're back down to 0. So remember, this is on a lag, right? So it's the past 5 seconds, the approximate speed for the last 5 seconds. So let's see how we did. I will hit finish. And we are now done. For those of you that have not seen this before, once we are done logging and I hit finish, this all grays out, so I can't keep making updates. So here's my summary screen that I would use to show viewers how we've done. On this trip, I had one good job, one disengagement. That was the one because of the curb that I didn't want to hit. And I had one other complaint here, right? And that was... Well, I'll look at the map and remind me. So when I go down here, all of these issues, these 3 issues that happened, have been logged and mapped. So we can see that I had my first safety disengagement at 3:41 p.m. The time, my time is wrong. I'm going to have to take a look at that. That's interesting. My local time in my browser is not lining up. I'm going to have to look at that. So there's a bug in the system, but the 41:56 is right. It's the wrong hour, so I've got a time zone issue. But that's not a big deal. I can fix that fairly easily. So the first was the disengagement, and I can see where that was by clicking on it. So when I click on it, the pin comes up and shows me where it was. So for those of you that remember from the beginning of the video, it's not the smoothest zoom. This was me coming off of the road and trying to merge, right? I came down Hines, Solent, and I turned right, and as we were merging onto March Road, I had that issue where I was afraid we were going to hit the curb. It might not have, but it was close enough that I did not feel safe. The second one was my way to go thumbs up, and that was coming off of the highway and getting into the correct lane, turning from the highway onto Carp Road. So I said, way to go, that was great, thumbs up. And then my other issue I had was along here on Carp Road. It was, the light, of course. So this intersection here was where we had the yellow light, and I went through, and so you'll see the logging when you just pass something comes to obviously where I hit it, which is here. Problem was there, but by the time I logged it, we were here. So it's very accurate. So there is the summary of how the trip went. My total distance, so 8.92 kilometers city, 4.78 kilometers highway. So let's call that's 1.7, 9.7, so 13.7 kilometers. And if I check out the trip, this is the drum roll time, 14 kilometers. Fantastic. I'm excited about that. So the Tesla only rounds the distance to the nearest kilometer. So 13.7 kilometers showing us 14 kilometers here is absolutely perfect. So despite the fact that I forgot to hit the highway toggle when we got on the highway, the total is correct. So I'm actually very excited about that. Over that distance, to have the distance being calculated that well, I'm very happy about. Oh yeah, the other thing I didn't mention. So as we were hitting, so my first disengagement, apparently we were going, the average speed was, approximate speed was 52 kilometers an hour heading into that issue. My thumbs up was 41 kilometers an hour heading into that issue. And then this one where I didn't like it going through the yellow, I was going approximately 65 kilometers an hour. That's not very exact, but it's close enough to give us some interesting information. So that's it, guys. I'm pretty happy. The biggest question, like I said, that I've got left now is about categories. How do I want to deal with it? I have a decision to make, because really either I settle on this and start moving towards saving this data and creating a customer login, or I go ahead and build that extra little bit of subcategories and then move on to that. So we'll see. I have a feeling that I'm probably going to try adding the subcategories. Better to do it now than later. So hope everybody enjoyed this video. I'm quite excited about how far I've gotten with this piece of software. It's going to be really, really interesting to see over time how all of this data, when we start saving this, and I'm hoping we get a whole bunch of people who have FSD Beta start using this so we can track their data as well. And then we can have really, really interesting information about how well the full self-driving beta software package is doing from Tesla. And this isn't the only car in the world that they're working on a self-driving software package. So this could run, in theory, on any car with a browser, or maybe just even a cell phone. So it could be ported over to other cars, not just Teslas. So, but maybe that's for another day. Anyway, guys, hope everybody's having a great day. I'm having a great day. It's beautiful in Ottawa. Hope it's beautiful where you are. We'll talk to you soon.